Hey there. Uh, my name's Edward M. Kramer. It's my first time ever doing this. I'm live, and I want to tell you about this immigration process a little bit. Uh, my wife and I have been going through this since 2013 for this process, but this is something she was dealing with for a long time before she met me. And, it's not easy uh, going through this immigration process. It's just not easy. And I don't think American citizens can understand that. You know, all they see is illegal immigrants trying to, cross the border and people trying to stop them from crossing the border, separating families and all that. But there's a lot more to this than they understand. First of all, my wife's situation is different than people that have never been to America trying to get in. She was there for many years before she had to self deport herself. She was under a federal deportation order that she didn't know anything about. She was married to a guy that lied to her the whole time. And she had one daughter that was uh, born in Brazil and another daughter that was born in America. And the one that was born in America had legal rights. And this whole thing never should have even happened, but it did. They got bad attorney advice along the way, but whatever it is, it is. And the bottom line is that at some point, my wife had a federal deportation order put on her, and that was it. But she had different advice from different directions, but she could have already been an American citizen a long time ago. But she didn't want to. She didn't want to do things that were going to harm her kids in any way, and that included doing anything that caused her ex-husband problems. Because that was her daddy, and she didn't want to hurt their daddy. But he didn't give a hat's ass to her. Okay, he made decisions that he made for his own benefit. Either way, when me and my wife met, I didn't know about any of this. I fell in love with her long before this came to my attention. But once I found out about it, I wanted to do what I could to help. And yeah, we got married, and the Department of Homeland Security interviewed us and approved our marriage, and we tried to fix this the right way, but there was no fixing it. The attorney she had when I met her was just trying to keep her in the process so she had her driver's license. But there was no joining a motion that was possible. There was a federal deportation order, and they were not going to change it. They were not going to open the case and redo anything. She had to go. Under those circumstances, there was nothing else any lawyer could have done. And it was okay as long as she could get her driver's license. But They stopped letting her get her driver's license because she could not prove residency. And this all came about because of 9/11. Before 9/11, it didn't matter. Before 9/11, none of the computer systems were attached to each other. She could go get her driver's license, have a job, pay taxes, everything that the American government said she could do, she did. And none of it had anything to do with her leaving the country. They didn't care, you know. Many Americans did not care if somebody was there illegally because they were doing the shit jobs. They were doing the housekeeping and being the nanny and picking the fruits and vegetables and, you know, trash collectors, whatever. You know, the dangerous, dirty jobs. That's what the illegal people did because Americans don't want to do that crap. They don't mind paying somebody to do that crap. And they do. They still do. There's still plenty of illegal immigrants in America. Only they have, you know, some kind of a connection to somebody that's making sure they're okay. Like a Donald Trump, as long as he's married to it, she's safe, you know. But his wife is an illegal immigrant, uh, but he gets away with it because he can pay whatever money he can do what he can do because he's got money. All right, I ain't got no money, but if I did, my wife would be legal already. She's not because she had to go through this process. And it's not an easy process, people. You just have no idea. Uh, but, you know, America was supposed to stand for something. That Statue of Liberty in the New York Harbor is supposed to, you know, bring us your, you know, it's it's all a lie because that's not the way it is right now. You know, it's we don't want you here, and I get it. You know, there's some people that are just fed up with it and don't want to have to deal with it no more. They want something done about it. But what if you're in love with somebody and you want to be with them? You make a commitment to them based on love, not their immigration status, but it didn't matter. You know, we're in a process. My wife is scheduled for an interview on the 20th of June for her visa, and she deserves it. But we don't know who's going to interview her. We don't know how those people feel about it. And they could deny her again, even though she's married to an American citizen who moved to Brazil to be with her, has a Brazilian citizenship because he's married to her, and has been with her this whole time. You know, we have grandkids and we have kids in America we want to be with. But the most important part to me was being with my wife, you know, and I've done that. I've been with my wife this whole time through all of it, with the exception of a moment when I had to go back to America to do something about a tax situation. And I did that. And then I came back and I haven't left since. That was back in 2000, I don't know, 2013, 14. I went back and then I came back in 2015. Uh, I wouldn't leave my wife uh, for nothing. I love her, and I married her before any of this uh, was an issue. I was already in love with her. You know, uh, I don't know how many people are going to actually watch this or give a crap, but uh, my goal has never changed. It's always been to take her back to America. And she she did what he she did what she could to make sure her kids had a life in America. And without her, there would be no grandkids in America right now. They'd be in Brazil. Um, you know, if she didn't make decisions that she made, we never would have met. And I'm grateful for that. But it doesn't change, the situation. It's something that we've been dealing with for a long time, and it's still not over. Some things have been, said by my family that I abandoned my son. I did not. I left my son in the best possible situation he could be in. I went through a divorce. We had joint custody, but there was a stipulation in his grandmother's will that I was not to benefit from any of it. So the only thing I could do was make sure that whatever divorce settlement there was included anything he needed in the future: car, college, camp. None of that stuff would rely on me. It would all rely on his grandmother's trust. And I was fine with that as long as my son got the full benefit of all of it and I wasn't responsible for the monetary situation because I was already giving up custody so that he didn't have to deal with being in court and going through that. Because I could have dragged his mother right out of court and won a settlement and been, you know, a whole lot different situation. But I didn't because I spared my son having to deal with that. And for the entire year before Edith, my wife, got deported, I told my son that this woman was going to be in our life for a long time because of how we met and the situation surrounding us being together. There was just too many things that I could not ignore. She was the woman to be in my life. And I love her dearly. I'd do anything exactly the same way I've done it, except I'd have been better prepared for moving to Brazil. That I did not prepare for. And my father didn't help me with that at all. And my mother died before she had a chance to help me. And my siblings took every goddamn ounce of money that I had any right to inheritance wise and took it away from me. So, no, I did not abandon my son. I didn't abandon my family. I did what I had to do for my wife and me. She was in Brazil. That's where I needed to be, period. And I waited until my mother passed away. I waited until my son had his bar mitzvah. And then I went because I had to go. But I'm not the one that stopped communicating with them. They stopped communicating with me. And they've all fed my son a bunch of lies about me that are so far from the truth, it's not even funny. But I respect my son's right to decide whether or not to be in contact with me, and he has not. For several years now, he has just not been in contact with me. And neither is my family for that matter, but they all screwed me out of my inheritance. That I know. Whatever inheritance there was, I could have gotten more money out of my dad before I left, but I didn't. He gave me $1,500 and he said, you know, take care. Paid for my plane ticket back. I just, I tried real hard to do the right thing in every situation I was involved with. And I have nothing to be ashamed of at all. Health wise, I'm not doing good. I haven't been doing good for a while. I've been fighting things, doing whatever I can to survive so that my wife can make it back to America one way or the other. I want to be with her. I want all of us to be in Paducah, Kentucky someday, trying to build a business. And that's all I can really hope for. And I hope the American government decides to help by doing the right thing and giving my wife a visa. Take care.